Welcome back everyone to a brand new SkillCapped video. With all the insane item changes and new introductions, we've gathered a bunch of sleeper OP builds and champs you can look to abuse for 11.13. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to get truly better at League of Legends. We are the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description. Alright, let's get started. There are countless amounts of new setups going around for this patch, so there's no way we can cover them all. If you guys have been playing any new builds you think are super underrated at the moment, be sure to let us know down in the comments below. Smash the subscribe button if you haven't already to stay up to date with all our future content. And with that said, let's get into it. Anyone who thought Stridebreaker would be dead after the changes were painfully mistaken, as it's performing extremely well on an even wider variety of champions. Fiora is the first pick we need to feature, who you'll want to be rushing Stride on for 11.13. The only big downside to the Stridebreaker changes was the removal of the dash, but that's not something Fiora really cares about. The dash from Fiora's Q gives her enough mobility, while the slow from Stridebreaker amplifies her sticking power and makes it impossible for the enemy to escape. Extra 200 health, more damage, and potent slow on active are amazing trade-offs that make the item a must-buy. The 90% decaying slow on Stridebreaker active makes it so easy to position around the opponent and proc your vitals. Good players will always try and hug walls when you ult them, but by activating Stridebreaker, they'll have no move speed to get there. If you generate an early lead, the enemy won't be able to come anywhere near you. Complete build is Stridebreaker into Ravenous Hydra and Hullbreaker. This is your ultimate snowball setup to take over in the side lane. Runes are Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Run Demolish and Bone Plating for secondaries. Hullbreaker is one of the brand new split push items that Riot has added for 11.13, and it's super busted on Nasus. We mentioned in our 11.13 tier list that we would most realistically see Hullbreaker slotted in as a third purchase, and that's where it's performing best so far. A bunch of players have dabbled with rushing the item, but the results are very poor as Divine Sunderer is still the go-to. Ability Haste is such a vital stat for Nasus, and since Hullbreaker offers none, it's not the most optimal rush. Divine and Frozen Heart are too good to pass up on as your main core items. However, if your win condition is playing the side lane, Hullbreaker third slots in extremely well. All the extra damage to towers that Hullbreaker offers can punish rotational lapses super hard and have you crashing into the enemy base before they can react. This new setup turns Nasus into the low elo god of 11.13, so if you're looking to climb the lower ranks quickly, we would highly advise abusing him. The complete core build is Divine Sunderer into Frozen Heart and Hullbreaker third. For runes, take Fleet Footwork with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Secondaries are Second Wind and Unflinching. Another top laner who can take full advantage of the reworked Stridebreaker is Riven. The core build is Stridebreaker into Black Cleaver, which is so much stronger for 11.13. 50 health was tacked onto Black Cleaver, while Stridebreaker received an extra 200, so the durability from this setup becomes way better. The cooldown on Stridebreaker active was reduced to 15 seconds, and it scales down even lower with Ability Haste. Stride and Cleaver provide 45 haste, while you get another 20 from Lucidity Boost and 10 from Transcendence. On your 2 item spike, the Stridebreaker active will drop to 8 seconds, which is completely insane. For almost every rotation of spells, you'll have the Stridebreaker active available, which adds so much consistent sticking power and burst. It's almost unfair as to how impossible it is to try and escape a Riven with all her mobility, CC, and the 90% slow from Stride active. So, the complete build is Stridebreaker into Black Cleaver and Sterax. Grab Conqueror as the keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Roll with Sorcery secondary running Transcendence and Gathering Storm. A really sleeper OP build for Shaco has begun to surface in 11.13, which involves rushing Stridebreaker. Stride Shaco was actually quite popular in the higher elos a while back, and it's once again an extremely strong pickup. The core setup consists of Stridebreaker into Essence Reaver and the Collector. Shaco has no problems at all getting on top of his targets due to stealthing in with Q. It's just sticking on them that can be an issue. Now that we've got a 90% slow from Stride along with a little more burst damage, it's the perfect active for Shaco. Slowing the enemy with Stride active amps up the consistency of W, as the fear is much more likely to go off. The durability from Stride is quite nice as you have a little more margin for error and won't be blown up as quickly. Damage is still there though, as Essence Reaver and the Collector pack a massive punch. At your 3 item spike, if you're jumping onto the enemy carry and they don't have flash available, your ability to finish off kills is so amazing now. For runes, take Hail of Blades with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Relentless Hunter. Triumph and Alacrity work best for secondaries. Volley Bear has a new hybrid setup going around, being played in high elo consisting of a Zhonya second and a Cosmic Drive third. Divine Sunderer is still your rush item, but the Zhonyas and Cosmic are what make the build really interesting. If you're unaware, Volley Bear has a few very strong AP ratios in his kit. an 80% scaling on E and 125% scaling on his ultimate damage. Passive attack speed and on-hit damage scale with AP as well. Divine Sunderer works amazing with Volley's kit, as the ability haste, health, and spellblade proc are all things Volley wants. Zonius allows you to play very aggressive in fights, diving in with ult and then activating the stasis to stall for your team. Upon Cosmic Drive completion, you'll have a total of 90 ability haste from all items combined, which is the equivalent of 47% CDR. W cooldown will drop to around 2.5 seconds, and the cooldown on Divine Sunderer Spellblade proc is 1.5 seconds. The amount of Spellblade procs you'll be getting off in extended fights is absolutely nuts, so you can see why this whole build comes together really nicely. For the rune page, take Press the Attack with Triumph's Tenacity and Last Stand. Celerity and Water Walking are the most optimal secondaries. One of the most forgotten junglers who becomes much stronger due to mage item buffs in 11.13 is Talia. Eluden's Tempest Rush is great this patch, as the cost reduction of 200 gold allows you to hit a slightly quicker early game spike. As a result of the recent jungle changes a couple patches back, Talia fits in quite well as she wants to be very active around the map early on. Jungle camp spawning 15 seconds later allows you to look for more gank angles without worrying about falling behind in XP. Free move speed from passive combined with the semi-gobo from ult allows you to make a great impact. All in all, Talia is quietly in a really solid spot right now as one of the most underrated junglers. Full build is Ludens into Zonius and Void Staff. Take Dark Harvest as the keystone with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter. Celerity and Water Walking are the best secondaries. A new Bruiser Kassadin build has emerged over the past 2 patches, being a Frozen Heart Rush into Riftmaker second. Such a wonky build but works extremely well with Kassadin's kit. Frozen Heart was buffed numerous times over the past few months and is very strong in general. Since Kassadin scales off mana and wants ability haste, Frozen Heart is the perfect tanky option. The armor shuts down AD mids tremendously well and makes it so that Kassadin is a completely viable blind pick for solo queue. Riftmaker adds to your durability even more and turns Cass into the ultimate fighter mage mix. Third item will be Archangel's Staff, as you still need that mana stack in order to function as Cass. Keep in mind, this build isn't something you want to purchase every single game. It's more of a hard counter into certain matchups and comps. If the enemy team has an AD mid and jungle, then it's 100% the most optimal setup. If you're against double AP mid and jungle, then it doesn't make much sense in wasting the golden armor from Frozen Heart, so rushing the more standard Everfrost is what you want to do. Rune-wise, grab Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Coup de Grace. Secondaries are Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter. The best Fizz build for 11.13 revolves around a Luden's Tempest Rush thanks to the buffs. Night Harvester and Zonius have been by far the more popular first purchases in previous patches, but that's starting to change pretty fast. We've seen a little bit of Luden's Fizz in the past, but it's now his undisputed best rush item. All the Magic Pen allows Fizz to burst extremely hard. Haste Stack Fizz was once really popular, but this build is solely focused on the one-shot as you'll pick up Sork Shoes instead of Lucidity. Luden's has lots of mana, AP, and haste, which are all stats Fizz wants. The 600 mana is a huge benefit. Night Harvester offers no mana at all, so your ability to stay on the map longer and participate in the Fiesta style that solo queue brings is really nice. Full build is Luden's into Zonius and Lichbane. Pick up Electrocute as the keystone with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter. Triumph and Coup de Grace work best for secondaries. Not only does Fizz benefit greatly from the mage item buffs this patch, but so do bot lane carries such as Ziggs, Heimer, Veigar, Karthus, and Swain. These are 5 picks who are all highly underrated for 11.13. Ziggs in specific is one we featured in our top 3 solo carry picks of the patch for bot lane. So far, the stats don't lie either, as Zigg's play rate and win rate have both shot up this patch. He holds a 53% win rate with just below a 2% play rate, which is pretty nuts. Traditional AD carries just can't stand up to these mages early on in lane, which will allow you to bully them out and pressure super hard. You can take Teleport as your secondary summoner spell, and if you run out of mana, just base, TP back, and continue to assert dominance. When paired up with a hard engaged CC support, the level 6 all-in and kill potential is better than any traditional AD carry, which allows you to snowball super hard. All in all, if you're looking for some free wins in the bot lane for 11.13, then mages are where it's at. The final sleeper OP build of the patch is one for Nautilus support, as he's insanely strong with the newly released Anathema's Chains. Being able to choose one opponent on the enemy team who will have 20% reduced tenacity against you is really strong. With all the crowd control in Naut's kit, his ability to single out a target and not let them play the game becomes even more disgusting for 11.13. Since Naut's W shield scales off max health, the item synergizes way better with him than many other hard CC supports. You receive 650 health from Anathemas, which makes you really tanky on its own, but then you pop your W shield and just laugh at the enemy trying to take you down. Rushing Anathema seems like a very solid strategy so far, but delaying it till second can also work. If you're snowballing early on, then rushing it will be great. In games when you're behind and won't be able to play as aggressively, then going for the more defensive Locket rush is what you should do. A sample full build will be Anathema's Chains into Locket and Knight's Vow. Run Aftershock followed by Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Unflinching for primary runes. Most optimal secondaries are Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5 division rank up guarantee and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we are able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO hell 629 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you're serious about improving. Alright guys, that's going to wrap everything up for this one. Those are 10 new sleeper OP champs and builds that you can look to try out in 11-13 to get a step ahead of everyone else. If you're new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future content. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.